Okay, so this is the 7th grade lesson for January 12th when I am out. This is page 6 in our binders. And you can leave the table of contents blank. We'll fill that out when I get back next week on Tuesday. Today we are obviously talking about percent change. We know some stuff about percents already, so let's read what percent change is. Remember, the thing that we know about percent is that percents are always out of 100. Please write this down because it's going to come into play here in just a moment. So percent we know is always out of 100. Now we're going to look at what a percent change is. So a percent change is the percent difference between an original value and a new value. Now this is always compared to the original. Compared to the original price, or sorry, the original value. I'm gonna write OG for original because I'm too lazy to write it all out. Okay. Okay. So that's important information that it's compared to the original value because that tells me that the percent here, that's going to be the percent change, right? But that means that the 100 tells me the 100% or all of the total from the total original value. Okay, well these are going to be percents then, so let's talk about amounts. Let's make another fraction for just amounts. So this fraction is going to be numbers that are not percents. Okay, I would actually like to make that all, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so the top then is going to be the amount change, so the difference, or the change, and then over the 100% of the original total value would just be the original total value. Again, I'm going to use OG for original value. Okay. Let's make a note here that in order to find the difference, we have to take the new thing minus, because difference means minus, the old or original thing. We have to find the difference between the new and original amounts. Okay, because this is talking about percents and this is talking about values, but the numerator in both of these is talking about the difference or the change, and the denominator is talking about the original values, 100% of the value and all of the amount of the value, right? Then I know that these two fractions are equal. The left one's just talking about it in percents and the right one's just talking about it in normal numbers. So since they're equal, that means if I'm missing one of these pieces of information, I can use a proportion and solve. So again, today we are just using proportions, right? So make sure that this part, I would like to not have that. Make sure that that part of what I've written down is also written down on your page. This part right here. This stuff is also written down, right? Everything that I've written down is also written down on your page. Take a moment if you need to pause the video and write this down. Okay, now let's look at some problems. So what we're going to do is use our understanding of percent change, and more specifically this proportion that we just wrote, and we're going to practice finding some percent change between some items from $2,000, not $2,000, the year 2000, and the year 2020. We're going to see the percent change in the cost of these items. Okay. We should have done this with eggs. Eggs are super expensive right now. Okay, so looking at the first column here, the gallon of milk problem, it says a gallon of milk cost $2.79 in 2000. In 2020, it cost $3.98. So know that the original price was the earlier price that I have, $2.79. Okay, now in 2020, so the later price that I have is going to be the new one, and that is $3.98. Okay, the change is just going to be the difference, which we kind of made a note of earlier. Change means difference. And to find a difference in math, you just subtract. Sorry, let me change the font size. Okay, so to find the change or the difference, we're going to take the larger value minus the smaller value, because when we talk about a difference, we're just interested in the actual distance on a number line difference. So that's always a positive value because distances are positive. Okay, so we're going to do 398. We'll talk about whether it's positive or negative momentarily, but not right now. So 398, and so then my bottom, the number on the bottom for my add-ins is going to be the 279. And because I'm trying to find the change, I'm going to subtract these. Okay, I cannot take 9 away from 8, so I have to borrow from the tenths place. So the tenths place 9 becomes an 8, and the hundredths place 8 gets 10 added to it, so we'll have 18. Now I have 18 hundredths minus 9 hundredths, and that makes 9 hundredths. 18 minus 9 is 9. Now I'm in the tenths place again. 8 minus 7, 8 tenths minus 7 tenths is 1 tenth. And then there's a decimal lined up, so I'll put my decimal down. And then 3 ones minus 2 ones is 1 1, right? So the change in the price was $1.19. Okay. Okay. Now we are ready to set up a proportion. So in all of these problems today, we don't know the percent change, right? So we are going to have the x that we're looking for, our unknown, our variable, is going to be the percent, and percents are always over 100. Remember, the percent is talking about a percent change. Well, I know the change is $1.19, $1.19. That change, though, was compared to the original price, $2.79. So I'll put $2.79 here. Because the numerators both talk about the change, this is just percent, and sorry, the x is the percent and the $1.19 is the value. And the denominators are talking about the total original thing, 100% of the original, and $2.79 was the original's total. Because they have the same descriptions for the numerator and the denominator, talking about the same product, I know that those two fractions are equal. So I have an equal sign between them. Well, if I have two equal fractions with a missing piece or a variable, we know that we can cross multiply and divide. So we'll cross multiply 279 times x, or 2.79x. And then we multiply 100 times 1.19. Remember, multiplying by 100 or dividing by 100, we either move the decimal 2 times to the left, sorry, to the right, so the number's bigger. That's if we multiply by 100. And if we divide by 100, we went the other way to make the number smaller, right? Okay, well, I'm multiplying 119 by 100, so I can take the decimal, move it once, twice, because 100 has 2 zeros, I moved the decimal twice. So 1.19 becomes 119. I know that those are equal, and I now need to just solve the equation. Solving the equation means I want to get x all by itself. I don't want $2.79 times x, I want 1 times x. So to undo the coefficient, we would divide by 279. Because 279 divided by itself makes 1. Well, if I divide on the left side by 279, I have to divide on the right side by also 2.79. I believe there's a lot of room, I hope, at the bottom of your page if I printed it right, so we can actually do that division here. So we'll have some scratch work at the bottom. Everyone, even Neffy, is going to write their scratch work. Scratch work. and we have $2.79 going into the number 119. Okay, we know that we're not allowed to have decimals on the outside of the division house, so I have to move the decimal over 2 times to have 279 instead of 2.79. So if I move the decimal twice on the outside, I have to move the decimal twice on the inside. There's not a decimal that I see on the inside because that's a whole number, and decimals are at the end of whole numbers. So we'll move the decimal 2 times over. In blank spots, we can put zeros. So that's going to be 279 into 11,900. Don't know about you guys. That's a lie, I do. None of us, me included, know our multiplication division facts for 279. So we are going to create our little multiples of 279. 279 times 0 times 1 times 2 times 3. I'm hoping times 4 is enough. If not, we can always go back and do more, right? Any number times 0 is 0. Any number times 1 is itself. And then we just keep repeatedly adding 279 to that, to itself, right? So plus another 279. 9 and 9 makes 18. Carry the 1, right? So 7 and 7 is 14, plus the 1 we carried would be 15, plus the 1. 2 and 2 is 4, plus the 1 is 5. Okay, so I've got 558, and now I will add in another 279. Okay, so we've got 8 and 9 makes 17, carry the 1. 5 and 7 makes 12, plus the 1 we carried is 13. 5 and 1 is 6, plus the 2 is 7. Okay, and we're going to go one more time, just in case, and hopefully that's enough. If not, we can always add more. These numbers are giant, massive. Welcome to middle school. Next year we get calculators and we'll be so happy. 7 plus 9 is 16, so we'll carry the little 1. 16. 1 and 3 is 4, plus 7 is 11. 1 and 7 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Okay, now just keep in mind if I add another 279, this is almost 1,000, so I'd have almost 1,200, or a little more, right? So now I'm ready to do the division. I've got 279 into 1, and it can't go, so nothing there. 279 into 11 doesn't fit. 279 is way bigger than 11. 279 into 119 won't fit. 279 is bigger than 119. So 279 into 1,190, that's less than 1,200, so I know the 4 is going to be the number I need there. And 4 groups of 279, 4 groups of 279 makes 1,016. Then I can do the subtraction. Can't take 6 from 0, so I borrow from the 9. The 9 becomes an 8, and the 0 becomes 10. 10 minus 6 is 4. 8 minus 1 is 7. 1 minus 1 is 1, and 1 minus 1 is, 1 minus 0 is 1, and 1 minus 1 is 0. My bad. Okay, now I'm ready to drop down the next number. That's 1,740, so I've got to keep going. This is insane. This is talking about money though, so if I have to use decimals, I know I only have to go to 3 decimals, that way I can round. So let's go times 5. So I'm adding in another 279, 279. Okay, 6 and 9 make 15. 6 and 9 make 15. 6 and 9 make 15. Love technology. 1 and 1 is 2, plus the 7 is 9. 0 and 2 is 2. 1 and nothing is 1. I think I can probably still fit some more 200s in there, so let's go times 6. Okay, and so since I'm adding in another multiple, I'll need to add in 279 more. Okay, 5 and 9 is 14. 9 and 1 is 10, plus 7 is 17. 1 and 2 is 3, plus 2 is 5. And then 1 and nothing is 1. 279 is close to 200. This is 1500. This is 1700. So 1500 plus 200, maybe it fits, maybe it doesn't. If I'm unsure, I can always add in another 279. That doesn't hurt. So let's add in another 279. If I do that, that'll get me the next multiple of 279. So 279 times 7. Okay, so 4 plus 9 is 13. 1 and 7 make 8, plus 7 make 15. 5 and 1 make 6, plus 2 make 8. And then 1 and nothing is 1. Okay, so I know that 7 groups of 279 is too big for 1740. So I'll use 6. 6 groups of 279 is 1,574. Okay. Can't take 4 from 0, so I'll borrow from the tens place 4, making that a 3, and changing the 0 ones to 10 ones. 10 ones minus 4 ones is 6. 3 tens minus 7 tens is not possible, so 7 hundreds turns to 6 hundreds, making the 3 tens turn to 13 tens. 13 tens minus 7 tens is 6 tens. 6 hundreds minus 5 hundreds is 1 of the hundreds. 1,000 minus 1,000 is nothing. 0 minus nothing is nothing. So now I've got 166. There's nothing else to drop down, so I will add in the decimal 0. Decimal goes on top of the house, 0 goes down to where I'm working. Okay, this is a lot of math. Okay, so 279 goes into 1,660. Thankfully, I've already got that multiple worked out. I know that the 1800 is too big, so again, I'll use a 6. 6 groups of 279 is 1574. Okay. I can't take 4 from 0, so I'd borrow, making the 6 tens 5 tens, and making the 0 ones 10 ones. 10 ones minus 4 ones is 6 ones. I can't take 7 tens from 5 tens, so I'll borrow from the 6, making it 5 hundreds. And the 5 tens will become 15 tens, right? So now I've got 15 tens minus 7 tens, so I'll have 8 tens. And then 5 hundreds minus 5 hundreds is 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 minus nothing, 0. 0 minus nothing, 0. I don't really need all of those trailing zeros, in the front. That's okay though. Okay, I still have numbers here, and I'm working with money, so I know I need at least 2 decimals, right? So I will add in another 0 and drop it down. So now I have 279 going into 860. 279 into 860. It looks like it's going to go in 3 times without spilling over, because 4 times would be 1,000. So I'll use 3. 3 groups of 279 is 737. We'll subtract that. Okay. Can't take 7 from 0, so 6 tens becomes 5 tens, and 0 ones become 10 ones. 10 minus 7 is 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. 8 minus 7 is 1. Okay. I do have to, if I'm using money, even though only 2 decimals will go in my answer, we have to use 3 decimals in our division. That way we can round properly. So I'm bringing down a 0. I don't actually have to do this subtraction. I just need to know how many groups of 279 will fit into that number. So I've got 279 fitting into 1,230. Sorry, 1,230. 1,295 is too big, so I'm going to have to fall on the group of 4 instead of the group of 5, right? So I'll put a 4 right there. because that's how many groups could fit without spilling over. So that took an insanely long time, but it was just dividing, which you guys are good at, so long as you have these multiples. Okay. The quotient then of our 279 and 11,900 is 46.634. 46.634. Now this is talking about money. Since it's money, I'm only allowed to have 2 decimals. So I'm going to look at just the first 2 decimals. That's the number 63. Behind 63 is a 4. If it's 5 or more, I add 1 more. If it's 4 or less, I let it rest. Because this is 4 or less, 63 will rest. Okay. So this is going to be 46.64. Now I just need to know, was that a percent? Ooh, I've been basing this on money the whole time. All right, we're going to round the percent to the hundredths percent. Okay, this is X was talking about a percent. I apologize. X was talking about a percent. Okay, so this is 46.64%. Now I just need to know, was this 46.64% an increase or a decrease? Well, let's look at the change. We started at 279 and ended at 398. So the price got bigger, which means this was a percent increase. So this would be a positive 46.64%. If it was a decrease, this would be a negative, but because it's an increase, this is positive. Make that note that an increase in the original to new, increase makes it positive, and decrease makes it negative. Okay, looking at the next column. Actually, I will leave it right here for a couple of seconds. Please pause the video and make sure you're all caught up. Okay, so now we can look at the second column. The second column talks about frozen pizza, and it tells me that, I'll work in blue, it tells me that for frozen pizza, it used to cost $3 in 2000, and in 2020 it cost $2.50. So the original price was $3. The new price is $2.50. I'm going to let you work out that subtraction, and I'm going to give you 20 seconds. Five more seconds. Okay, the difference between $2.50 and $3 is 50 cents. Okay. Now I'm ready to make the percent proportion. I don't know what the percent is, and I'm going to remember this time that we're solving for percents. Out of 100 total percent equals, this is a percent change, so the amount change goes in the numerator, so 50 cents in the numerator. We always compare to the original, so we need 100% of the original price, which is 3. Okay, this division is going to be nice. Alrighty, now that I've got my proportion set up, I'm ready to cross multiply and divide. One of the cross products is going to be 3 times x. 3 times x is just 3x. Okay, the other cross product is 100 times 0.5. Remember, when we multiply by 100, we just move the decimal over 2 times to make the number bigger. 2 times to make the number bigger looks like this. So 100 times 0.5 is 50. And now I'm ready to solve this equation. To solve the equation, we'll divide by 3 on both sides. That's helpful because 3 over 3 is 1. So 3x over 3 is 1x. Now I just need to look at 3 into 50. Okay, so I will do 3 into 50. I know some of you know your 3's and some of you still struggle with your 3's. Take this time to start making a list of your multiples. I'll do that in a different color. Got 3 times 0 times 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 times 6 times 7 times 8 and times 9. Any number times 0 is 0. Any number times 1 is itself, so 3 times 1 is 3. And then I just keep repeatedly adding 3. So 3 plus 3 is 6. Plus 3 more would be 9. Plus 3 more would be 12. Plus 3 more is 15. Plus 3 more is 18. Plus 3 more is 21. Plus 3 more is 24. Plus 3 more is 27. Okay. I don't want that tab open. Oh, geez. There we go. Okay. Alrighty, now I'm ready to do the division 3 into 50. 3 goes into 5 without spilling over one single time. One group of 3 makes 3. The difference between 3 and what I wanted 5 is 2, and I'm ready to bring down the next number, 0. Now I'm looking at 3 into 20. 3 goes into 20 without spilling over 6 times, because 6 groups of 3 is 18, 7 groups of 3 is 21, and that's too large. The difference between 18 and 20 is 2. I have no more numbers to bring down, and I still have leftover things, so I will make a decimal with a 0. Decimal goes up, 0 brings down. Okay, so now I've got 3 into 20, and I'd like to point out that I've already done 3 into 20. So I know I'm going to keep getting 3 into 20 over and over and over, which means the 6 is repeating. So 1x is 16.6, which means my solution is 16.6%. And the only thing I need to know now is that a percent increase or a percent decrease. To know if it's an increase or decrease, let's look at our change, from our original to our new. We started at 3 and ended at 2.5, so we went down, which means this was a decrease. Because it's a decrease, then I'll denote that using a negative symbol with my percent change. Okay. What I would love for you guys to do now is pause the video to try and fill out these 3 boxes on your own. Okay, you try. Alright, the original price was $8.20. The new price was $10.65. And the difference between that is $2.45. Okay? Now what we'll do is, I'd like you guys to again pause the video and just try setting up the proportion by yourself. We know we're going to have percent over 100. This is a percent change, so think about what numbers will go in the numerator and denominator. Change over original. Okay, hopefully you did pause the video, and so you just saw me do a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, so it's change over original, which means I need 245 because that's the change over the original $8.20. Because I don't know what the percent is, I'll use X. Now I have a proportion and I'm ready to solve. Again, pause the video, and this time just identify the cross products. Just find out what it makes for both numbers, both values, when you cross multiply. Okay. when you cross multiplied, 8.2 times x was 8.2x. When you cross multiplied with 100, you move the decimal 2 times over, so you got 245. Okay, now you know that we have to divide by 8.2 to make 1x. We're dividing by 8.2. We've got 8.2 into 245. Okay. Can't use decimals in the outside number, so we move that over once. Move this over once. 0 in the placeholder there. So we'll have 82 into 245. Okay, none of you know your 82 times tables off the top of your head, so you do have to make a list. We'll do 82 times 0, and I'll give you the multiples up to 4. It just might take me a minute. 82 times 0 is 0. 82 times 1 is 82. 82 times 2 is 164. 82 times 3 is 246. 82 times 4 is 328, and that's enough for now. You can at least get the first part done of the division. Try it on your own, please. You don't have to pause the video in case you need more multiples, but do try this on your own. 82 into 245. We'll have twice because 3 times is 246, and that's too big. So we've got 164. The difference, 5 minus 4 is 1. Can't do 4 minus 6, so we'll have to look at 24 minus 16. Or you can change the 2 to 100, making the 4 tens 14 tens. 14 tens minus 6 tens is 8 tens. And 1 minus 1 is 0, or nothing. Okay, so now I'm ready to add a decimal 0. Decimal on the top, bring the 0 down. And now we're working with 82 into 810. Okay, I will provide you with more multiples of 82. Okay, so times 5 is going to be 410. Because that would be 408, yeah, 410. Times 6 would be, oh, another 82 would be 492. What did I do wrong? I did some stuff wrong. No, I did not do some stuff wrong. Never mind. Times 7. So we'll add 82 to that. That's 560 plus 14 is 574. Okay, times 8 is 8 times 8 is 640 plus 16, 640, and 16 makes 656. And then I'll do 82 times 9 over here. That's 720 and 18. 720 and 18 make 738. Okay, so we can't put a 10 here, so I'm going to stop at 9, and it looks like 9 will fit in. So we had to really do 82 times 9, which was great multiplication practice for us. Okay, so we've got 9 groups of 82 make 738. And I'm going to say we can round to the tenths. So we will just have to do one more group of this, but that's not a huge struggle for us because we already have all the multiples of 82. Now we can practice our subtracting. 8 from 0, can't do. So change the tens place 1 to a 0. The 0 ones turn into 10 ones. So 10 ones minus 8 ones is 2. 0 tens minus 3 tens, I can't do. So borrow from the hundreds, making that 7 hundreds, and then turning the tens into 10 tens. 10 tens minus 3 tens is 7 tens. 7 minus 7 is nothing. So I'm done. Again, just like in the first example, we're going to bring down the 0. And because we're going to round to the 10th spot, the first decimal, we only need to know what number would go here. We don't actually have to do the subtraction and keep going, okay? 720 is, we need 82 into 720. I need this to be that color, okay. We've got 82 into 720. 738 is too big, so I know it can't be 9, so I'm going to use 8. Okay, so I've got 2.98. And we're going to round to the 10th spot. So I need the number and the tenths. Okay, so if I'm looking at the tenths, that's the number 9. And behind the 9 is an 8, which means I have to make this go up. So 9 turns into 10. So that's 0 for the tenths place and 3 for the ones place. That's a 3% change. Now I just have to know, was it an increase or a decrease? Increase or decrease. Okay. We started at 820 and ended at 1065, so it did get bigger. The price got bigger, which means this was an increase. And because it was an increase, this is a positive 3%, roughly. Okay. How am I doing on the time? Oh no. Okay. How am I doing on the time? Okay, this should be far more than enough notes. There are some on the back of this paper, so your goal is to pick one of them and try it on your own. So at this moment, pause the video until about 2 or 3 minutes before the bell rings, and you'll see the answers on the video. If you don't get the right answer and you're curious about it, please don't hesitate to send me a Schoology message. Okay, so all right, looking at number 2, if you picked number 2, that was a minus 24%, so it was a 24% decrease. You did 25 minus 19 and got 6, so your proportion was 6 over 100. Sorry, 6 over 25. Change 6 over original 25. Didn't know the percent over 100. Cross multiply, you should have got 24. Number 3, you knew actually this time the percent decrease, so that was 15 over 100. Remember, that's a 15% change. So the numerator here is just the change, and the denominator is the original. It said that the original last year, so last year was the original, 280. So you had 280 there. Then you solved that proportion. Keep in mind that after you solved for x, that was just the change, so you did have to solve this problem asking how many were in the class this year. You had to take away the 42 from the original because it was a decrease, so we minused. So if you did number 3, you should have had 138 students. And then number 4, just percent change from May to July, so I set up the proportion. And then when you solve the proportion, you'll get 75. So it was 75%. It's an increase because we went from 78 to 136. All right, and that is it for this video.